We'll take a journey into the Laya Yoga, also known as art of leaving the body, or some people call it art of dying. Art of living is far more profound than art of living. What's the difference? We have lived our life. I'm not discounting the fact that art of living is not important. What we have to understand is, are we able to click into the larger picture, the deeper understanding? And for that, it takes tremendous depth of insights of practices and not just a philosophy. Many years ago, I encountered a Bhagavat, somebody who's been reading Bhagavad Gita to the world. He was a very popular man. He traveled the world teaching Bhagavad Gita, and he was so famous at one point that probably he must have traveled 70% of the countries in this world teaching Bhagavad Gita. So when I went to meet this man, he was 96 years old, and it was very exciting for me to meet this man. And when I encountered him, with I had gone with my few friends, and he limped from his room and slowly came and sat in front of me. I looked at this man. He was very frail, but what was more shocking was the three statements that he made. The three statements was: first, I'm asking, begging God to take me away, and he has not been listening to me. And the second statement, he said, I don't have any more friends. Nobody comes to see me anymore. Third, he said, but the doctor is my best friend because he's the only one who looks after me. Now, it hit me like a bolt of lightning here, the shock here. How could somebody who's been all his life reading the book of God, which was regarded as one of the most profound ever commentary on godliness, how to access it, fail to address the very essence of how to leave the body? Why was it so difficult to leave the body? And I could not sleep as contemplation happened to me. He said, yes, all this fantastic theory, becoming a upanyasaka, somebody who's living by the scriptures, that does not have the firepower to give you a deeper knowing, nor the practice, nor the technique, nor the preparation of how to prepare this body to just be ready to leave the body. There are so many beautiful yogis who live in Himalayas. None of us even know their existence. They just appear in a small cave and they drop their body at will and go away. Nobody has ever heard of them. They're not famous. No books have ever been written about them. And we didn't even know how they left the body. Did they have a very deeper understanding? The answer is yes. They knew how to drop the body. The science of Laya Yoga. And people call it the Icha Mrityu. That means ability to drop the body at will. So there are very deep ancient yogic sciences which are beyond the scope of my discussion today with you, is because somewhere deep down inside you have to go diving into the cellular awareness to realize that this entire journey is of a memory. So what can you do about this? There is a memory which has been programmed for a timing. So if there is a timing, and if there is an expanse of time that has been given to us as life, what did we do with this? Most often, we become objective orientation, and then we moved out of our original knowingness and we stepped into an evolution journey. So we lost the ability to be inward, upward. So we have forgotten that there is something pulling us upward. And the art of leaving this body is first and foremost accessing the magnetic power head. If this power head does not inspire us enough, we are not able to calibrate the breath called known as the subtle breath known as the Mukhya Prana. Mahaprana. So, if this breath has not awakened in us, we would be having a routine, casual death, which is called natural death, where the prana is failing to go beyond the throat and you have a slip. You just slip down into coma state for the reason that you cannot handle the moment itself. The moment is not really a very pleasant moment because we are ending a dream. We are not able to come to terms with the dream itself. We have so many unfinished work, incompletion inside us. There's so many unattended aspect of us which have been kept in procrastination mode forever, and death comes to us in a very shocking way. The body has almost failed. We are tied to a hospital bed with a life support, and we are just hoping that this body can sustain more, but it is not. So how do we operate from this state that most of us are slipping into unconscious state or consciously unaware state, comatose state, that we can't handle the very nature of death? So death, as we originally understand, is a fiction because we are deathless, we are eternal. So what part of us really dies? The dream dies. This body is part of the dream. So this physical instrument, sthula sharira, eventually is timed by number of breath. So a yogi would know that the time is leaving is come close because the prana is no longer coming to you at the same intensity. It is leaving your body. Maybe 6 months in advance you would know that this time has come. So what would you do? You would prepare. If you want to extend your life, you would do slow, deep, kevala kumbhaka breath. Eventually you will practice the art of slowing down. You would extend the life. What would you do by extending the life? You would be of more use. So basically, if you have lived a life where you have contributed to your awareness, you would be chanting mantras to open the gateways, portals for higher domains, extensions, connections. What would be our real awareness? So the very preparation itself, which is done in a very beautiful path work, is preparing us to realize that we are not this body. We are visiting this body. And what would you do with that body? You want to gather an experience. When you experience very intensely, you would not have the fear of dropping this body anymore because the experience is complete in itself. You don't have to cry about not maturing that experience. So the very deep knowingness is that when the experience is complete, the realization has to take shape. When the realization takes shape, that we are not this body so strongly, then our awareness would be our original nature or true beingness. And that when this soul accesses that awareness, dropping the body becomes easier. Leaving this body becomes easier. We are no longer latching on to a frail body which is failing, which is so unuseful to us. So, but then do we have the firepower for the Mukhya Prana to rise? So, there's a big difference between ordinary dying versus ascending or leaving the body. I'm discussing the real science behind it. We are not interested in routine deaths. With there's so many people who left this planet in a miserable condition. We are seeing it day in and day out, which happened by an accidental process or by natural death. But death is a very fearful process. Very the transition itself is fear because we are not experienced it while we are still alive. So the very aspect of this Laya Yoga is experiencing death before you actually leave the body. So what is death then? It's an exit from this body into our or higher body. Stula Sharira to Sukshma Sharira. From Sukshma Sharira to Karana Sharira. And if you have really, really sought the grace of a ascended master like a rishi, then the very timing of death would be a celebration of your leaving this body. You would be welcomed by the pillar of light, Jyotirlinga, and the masters would descend into your awareness, and then the leaving the body would become a part of a universal celebration, and then there would be a welcome party for you. For you have ascended into that awareness, your journey has become a beautiful little comma in the expanse of your entirety, and then you reveal to itself. The whole brain goes through a phenomenal shift, and that is the real understanding of what death can do to you. The left and right brain mostly, with none of us access the extent of it, but in the death process, a natural death process, the left and right brain come together. There is an explosion because the coherence has reached 100%, and this union of left and right merges in the center, and you see that the brain is in union. In that union there is a 20-second window which offers us a glimpse of the entire life, only the highlights, not the entire episodic view, but the highlights of it. So, what are the important events in our life? Most of us only remember the negative events. We don't remember our happiest moment. So, we often return back to incompletion. We often return back to our negativity, and that's when we are returning back to our lifetimes of spin again. That is a familiar ground. We want grandchildren to look after our property, and we feel insecure, we feel incomplete, and we come back again because the desire is the only powerful agent that can bring us back again. So what can happen? We have cultivated desire, and the desire refuses to go away, and the 20-second window is too short for us to not access the real calling, because that we were never prepared for it. We've only prepared for increasing desire, having very glorious dreams. So all our life we've been chasing dreams, chasing passions, desire, and the pleasures. So that is not a cultivated habit for us to know the real self. So the ego self is fragile, fearful, dark, and we see light. What happens when we see light? We can't handle it because we've never seen it before. Those who have never accessed light can never appreciate it at that point. It is too much to handle because all our lives we kept saying there is no God, there is no godliness. All we have know is that we have to work hard to sustain our life, and that's it. We live by a reality which is very tangible, pulsating in our life, and that is through our existential process. And we have never encountered the spiritual self. We were saying we were rigid, yes. Ignorant, yes. And at that point, ignorance is not bliss. How could be ignorance bliss? Because at that point, ignorance is fear. And who would guide you at that point? It's too short for you to even venture out to ask for help, and you are collapsed. And that is a misery of our life. That's why we keep repeating this punarapi janmam, punarapi maranam, punarapi matra darshanam. There's a constant spin of this vicious cycle. We return back because it's a familiar ground. We didn't know anything else better. All our life we kept on fighting that we were not going to know anything more. So our standard way of approaching this science is I don't know, I don't care. Does it really matter to me? Is it of any relevance to me? So where do we begin? There is no depth of knowingness. So we often collaborate ourselves with only associations which can augment our ignorance. But real awareness is how to be aware of the light that we are. We have forgotten that we are powerful light. We have forgotten that we are projections passing through this body. We are not, this body is not real. So, what would be the preparation of Laya Yoga? Is first and foremost prepare this body how to access its sacred portals, how to access its innermost gateways which are in the brain. For instance, the Shivarandhra, which is the posterior fontanel, which is the closest reference point. But how many people have had an experience of Shivarandhra? The Shivarandhra gateway is a yogic portal for ascending into the higher plane. It does not stop in between any of those lower domain stations. It just helps you to jettison out into the higher domains. But that takes tremendous levels of yogic practice. How to get the entire blood spurts from here. There is Kapala Kriya, the skull crack opens, and then the soul ascends to the body, the whole brain collapses, then the soul is no longer in the Maya Jal or the illusions of having into coming into the body again, because the power of that recognition is so strong that you would know very clear that you are not the body. You would not hover around like average souls on this planet 72 hours spinning around the body hoping that you can re-enter. That's why the traditions of India, they burn the body. So this, they burn the body. They don't want you to come back into the body by hovering around it. So we know for sure that death is inevitable. Even though it is fictional, it is inevitable. So preparing the body, preparing the sacred portals, what did you do in your whole life? That's what you're going to see in those 20 seconds. So make sure that you have invested your time in Kriya Yoga purification process, so that the body would open the gateways from the kundasthana and the mukhya prana will pass through the spine. Then the ujjayi breath is so strong, that the udana vayu is so strong that it can help you to crack open the skull and access the brahmarandhra or the shivarandhra and access the sacred portals and then ascend. But there is one more very powerful portal. It's called the Mahamoksha Dwara. And if the prana processes through the Mahamoksha Dwara, you will liberate, you will be a Jivan Mukta. And that Jivan Mukta state is only known for a few beings. Rest of them think it is impossible. We are caught in a vicious, entangled cycle, and it is not possible to disengage from it. So, preparing the Mahamoksha Dwara, and this gateway is not available to common man because you think it is never there. So these are the yogic secrets of how to access it, and I have been guiding people through Kriya Yoga, through these Himalayan sacred sciences, that it is possible to prepare the body, it is possible to access the mini death which is happening to us in the from this point. You can access the nothingness in the brain. From here, the 0 point field will hold you on, and then you can access the space within you, which will open the Brahma Guha, the cave of Brahma. From there, the tunnel opens the gateway to the soul exit point. From there, you get direct access to the higher beings, your ancestors, your spiritual guides, your master guides, master soul, all these are available to us. And at that point, death is no longer a struggle because you are one with the powerful soul gathering, the master gathering, and then you are going deeper and clear into the path of ascending. So, ascension is inevitable for those beings who are prepared themselves enough. So, the grace of the master, that's why many thousands and thousands of people in India would go all the way to Kashi to get drop their body in front of a realized being, because they knew that if they drop the body, even a sideward glance known as Ekamatra Kataksham would be enough for the soul to ascend. So get ready for the real ascension process, get ready for the knowingness, and Laya Yoga is real. It helps us to crack open the code of life by art of leaving the body. Once you become familiar with that, then life becomes very precious. It's no longer hurtful to you. It's a peaceful process because you can come to the harmonization, you come to the gateways, and the gateways are very ready and open while you're still young and strong. You're not frail struggler or a diseased being who are trying to open the gateways, which is a near impossibility in a frail state. So get to do it when you're still young and strong, so that you can really activate the Laya process, and from there ascension becomes easier, faster, more efficient, and it is truly possible. And because the science never fails those who really access the surrender, and the true path of ascension is possible through all of us. It is just that we few of us trust and believe in it. So if you are on the path, you will eventually encounter Laya Yoga as your guidance. Thank you.